I am going to tell you exactly how I made my girlfriend believe she was losing her mind. And then I'm going to tell you how to make sure no one ever does this to you again. When I walk into a room, I do not announce myself. I do not need to. I adjust the temperature with my presence. Literally, you can feel the shift. I let silence do the work, and within 30 seconds, sometimes less, I can tell you who is going to challenge me and who is already looking for permission to agree with me. Some people are born to lead, others are born to follow. I just happen to be very good at helping people understand which one they are. And Emma, she was perfect for this. My girlfriend, let us call her Emma, needed help understanding. When I met her, she scattered her opinions everywhere, confident on the surface, sure. She had thoughts about everything. But underneath, I spotted the cracks within the first hour. The need to be liked, the fear of being wrong, the constant scanning of other people's faces for approval. She would laugh just a beat too loud at jokes that were not funny. She would agree before people even finished their sentences. I saw all of this on our second date, so I helped her. It took 3 weeks, that is all. I remember the first time I corrected her in front of my friends. We were at dinner at some Italian place she picked, and she launched into this story about her job. Something about a project she was proud of. Her eyes lit up when she talked about it, actually glowed. Halfway through, she mixed up a detail. Not a big deal to most people, but I saw my buddy Marco's face start to scrunch up in confusion, so I interrupted, gently. I smiled, placed my hand on her shoulder with just enough weight to make her pause, and said, "Babe, that's not actually what happened. You are mixing up the timeline." She looked at me, surprised. Her mouth opened slightly. The light in her eyes dimmed, like someone had turned down a switch. Then she laughed it off, but I heard the uncertainty creeping into her voice. "Right, yeah, sorry, I always do that." But I saw it, the flicker, that tiny moment where she questioned herself, where she looked down at her plate instead of finishing her story. And that is when I knew. This was going to be easier than I thought. Here is what people do not understand about control. It is not about yelling. It is not about being obvious. That is amateur hour. Real control is about making someone doubt themselves so completely that they start to police their own thoughts before you even have to say a word. You become the narrator of their reality. And once you are in that position, you can rewrite anything. I started small, little things that seemed harmless, caring even. She would tell me about her day, and I would tilt my head slightly, furrow my brow like I was concerned, and ask if she was sure that is how it happened. Not in a mean way, just curious, protective even. "Are you sure he said that? Because that does not really sound like something he would say. Maybe you misunderstood." At first, she defended herself, insisted she remembered correctly. Her voice would get a little higher, a little faster, but I would just shrug. Let it go. Plant the seed and walk away. Then, a few days later, just when she had almost forgotten, I would bring it up again, casually. "Hey, remember when you thought your boss said that? I was thinking about it, and I really think you might have misheard him. It just does not make sense, you know?" And she would pause. Stop what she was doing. Her hands would freeze mid-motion. Think about it. Really think about it. I could see the gears turning, the self-doubt creeping in, and eventually she would say, "You know what? Maybe you were right. I probably misheard him. That rush I felt in that moment, better than anything. It was like a drug, and I wanted more." The trick is consistency. You cannot make someone question their reality just once and expect it to stick. You have to build a pattern. You have to make them feel like their memory is just naturally unreliable. And the beautiful part? They start to do it to themselves. She would come to me and say things like, "I think this happened, but I am not sure. What do you remember?" And I would just smile and tell her my version, and she would accept it. Every single time, I felt powerful, not in a loud, aggressive way, in a quiet, certain way, like I was holding all the cards in a game she did not even know we were playing. Now, I know what you were thinking. Why would I do that? What is the point? Here's the point. People like Emma, they walk around thinking they are independent. They think they are strong. But deep down, they are terrified of being alone, terrified of being wrong, terrified of conflict. So when you position yourself as the one person who really understands them, who really sees them, they cling to you. They need you. And that need? That is currency. I became her mirror, her compass, her entire sense of direction. I never had to ask her to change her plans for me. She just started doing it. Her sister's birthday dinner, she bailed. Her weekly coffee with her best friend, she started canceling. I never had to tell her to stop seeing certain friends. She just gradually stopped mentioning them. Because every time she did, I would sigh. Or I would go quiet and stare out the window with this disappointed look. Or I would say something like, if you want to hang out with people who do not really get you, that is your choice. I just thought you valued deeper connections. And she would feel it, that twist in her stomach, that guilt. So she would choose me, every single time. Within 6 months, I was her entire world. The eggshells started appearing without me even having to lay them down. She just started walking on them, on her own. I remember the first time she stopped telling me when she was upset. We were supposed to meet for lunch, and I canceled 30 minutes before. Send her a quick text. Did not explain why. And when I saw her that night, I could see it in her face, the tightness around her mouth, the way she would not quite meet my eyes. She was hurt, but she did not say anything. She just smiled and asked about my day. I pushed a little. What is wrong? Nothing. I'm fine. And I knew. She had learned. She had figured out that bringing up her feelings would only make things worse for her, like the time she said, I felt hurt when you canceled our plans last minute, and I looked at her like she had just slapped me across the face. I let my expression go cold, pulled back physically, just a few inches, but enough that she noticed. Seriously? I had a work emergency, Emma, and you are making this about you? I thought you were more understanding than that. And she backtracked immediately, apologized, said she overreacted, and I let her apologize, did not comfort her right away, made her sit in it for a minute. Perfect. After a while, she stopped bringing things up at all. She would just go quiet when something bothered her, and I would ask her what was wrong, and she would say, nothing. I am fine. And that right there, that was the moment I knew I had complete control. See, the goal is not to make someone afraid of you. That is control through fear, and fear is unstable. The goal is to make someone afraid of themselves, afraid of their own emotions, afraid of their own perceptions. Because when someone is afraid of themselves, they look to you to tell them who they are. And that is real power. I remember one night, we were lying in bed, the room dark except for the streetlight coming through the window, and she turned to me with these big, searching eyes and said, Do you think I am a good person? The question hung in the air like smoke. I did not answer right away. I let the silence hang there, let her feel the weight of it. Then I said, I think you try to be. But sometimes I wonder if you even know who you are. Her face crumpled slightly. What do you mean? And I just shrugged, kept my voice gentle, concerned. I do not know. You just seem confused a lot, like you're not sure what you want or how you feel. It is okay. I'm here to help you figure it out. She cried a little, thanked me for being patient with her. And I held her, stroked her hair. I felt that familiar rush of satisfaction. Game over. I had won. But here's the thing nobody tells you about winning. It gets boring. Once someone is completely under your control, there is no challenge anymore. No resistance, no fight. It is like playing chess against someone who just keeps handing you their pieces. At first, it felt incredible. But after a while, it is just empty. And that emptiness, it turned into rage. I started to resent her, not because she did anything wrong, but because she stopped doing anything at all. She became this anxious, second-guessing shell who could not make a decision, without checking with me first. And I hated it, because deep down, I knew it was my fault. I had taken this vibrant, opinionated woman and turned her into a ghost, but I could not admit that. Not to her, not to myself. So I blamed her instead. I started picking fights over nothing, telling her she was too needy, too dependent. I would say things like, You used to be fun, now you are just exhausted. And she would cry and apologize and ask what she could do to fix it. And I would just shake my head and walk away. The truth? I wanted her to leave, but I also could not stand the thought of her leaving, because if she left, that meant I lost. And I do not lose. So I kept her in limbo. I would be cold for days, then suddenly sweet. I would ignore her texts, then show up with flowers. I would criticize everything she did, then tell her I loved her. I kept her guessing, kept her hoping, kept her trapped. And you know what the worst part is? I knew exactly what I was doing. Because that is what this is really about. It is not about love. It is not even about control. It is about never feeling the thing I am most terrified of. Abandonment. If I keep her off balance, she will never leave. If I keep her doubting herself, she will never trust herself enough to walk away. If I keep her isolated, she will have nobody to tell her the truth. And the truth is this: I am empty. I am terrified. I am so deeply insecure that I cannot handle even the smallest hint of rejection. So I make sure nobody ever gets close enough to reject me. I reject them first. I control them first. I break them down first, because if they are broken, they cannot break me. I know how this sounds. I know you are sitting there thinking I am a monster. And maybe I am. But here is what you need to understand. I did not wake up one day and decide to be like this. This is survival. This is what happens when you grow up feeling like you are never enough. So you learn to perform, you learn to manipulate, you learn to make people need you so you never have to face the possibility that you are not worth needing. Emma does not know this. She thinks I'm just difficult, just moody. She makes excuses for me, tells herself I had a hard childhood, tells herself it will get better if she just loves me enough. She is wrong. It will not get better, because I cannot change. To change, I would have to admit I am wrong, and I cannot do that. My entire identity is built on being right, on being superior, on being in control. If I admit I am wrong, the whole thing collapses. So I will keep doing this. I will keep finding new people, new victims, and I will keep convincing myself that this is just how relationships work, that I am not the problem. But late at night, when I'm alone, I know the truth. I am the problem, and I am terrified that one day someone will see through me. Someone will refuse to play the game. Someone will look me in the eye and say, I know exactly what you are doing, and it does not work on me. That is my nightmare. Because the moment someone stops believing my version of reality, the moment someone holds on to their own truth no matter what I say, I lose all my power. The moment someone documents my lies, refuses to argue with me about what is real, I have nothing left. And that is when everything falls apart. Beat, let that sink in. Now let me tell you something that might save your life. He thinks he won. He thinks he has you convinced that you are the problem, that your memory is faulty, that your feelings are invalid, that you need him to interpret reality for you. But there is one thing that terrifies a narcissist more than anything else in the world: your certainty. The moment you stop arguing with him about what is real, the moment you stop trying to convince him that you are right, the moment you quietly hold on to your truth without needing his validation, he loses his grip. Because gaslighting only works if you participate. It only works if you keep explaining yourself, keep defending yourself, keep seeking his approval for your own perceptions. The second you stop, the game is over. Listen carefully to this next part. Here is exactly how you break free from this. First, understand what is actually happening. The narcissist denies your reality, your memory, your perceptions. He tells you things did not happen the way you remember. He accuses you of being too sensitive, too emotional, too confused. He makes you feel like something is wrong with your mind. And the reason? To avoid accountability. By making you doubt your own judgment, he makes you dependent on him for reality. Here are the red flags you need to watch for. He denies conversations or events you absolutely know happened. You will say, "You promised to pick me up from the airport," and he will look at you with complete confidence and say, "I never said that. You are remembering wrong." He tells you that you are too sensitive when you question him. And here is the biggest red flag, the one that should make alarm bells go off in your head. You feel the need to record conversations, to take notes, to screenshot texts. If you are doing that, if you are creating evidence of your own reality because you no longer trust your own memory, you are being gaslighted. Also watch for blame shifting. If you catch him in a lie, he does not address it. Instead, he attacks you for snooping, for being paranoid. He makes the entire issue about your behavior, not his. Now, here is the solution. Do not argue. Do not defend. You cannot win an argument about reality with a gaslighter because he is not actually listening to you. Every time you engage, you are giving him more ammunition. Instead, hold your reality. You do not need to convince him you are right. You only need to know it for yourself. When he says, "That never happened," you do not argue. You just think to yourself, "Yes, it did. I know what I experienced. This is the most powerful thing you can do. And this next step? This is crucial. Document everything. Write down the date, time, and exact words. When he says he never promised to pick you up from the airport, you will have proof that on Tuesday at 3 in the afternoon, he texted, "I will pick you up at 6. Keep a journal, save emails, screenshot texts. This record helps you combat the self-doubt he is trying to instill. The notes are for you, to keep you grounded when he is trying to pull you into his version of events. And finally, disengage. If possible, end the relationship. Gaslighting is a form of abuse that rarely stops. It escalates. The longer you stay, the more damage it does to your sense of self. Here is what the narcissist does not want you to know. He needs you to doubt yourself. That is his entire strategy. The moment you trust your own perceptions more than you trust his words, he has no power over you. He can deny it, he can manipulate, he can twist, but he cannot make you believe him, not if you refuse to. Participate. And when you stop believing him, when you stop explaining yourself, when you stop seeking his validation, the gaslighting stops working. Not because he stops doing it, but because you stop participating. You become immune, untouchable. And that is the thing he fears most, your certainty, your clarity, your refusal to let him rewrite your story. So stop arguing about what happened. Stop trying to make him see your side. Stop hoping he will finally admit the truth. He will not. But you do not need him to. You just need to trust yourself. Document what is real, hold your boundaries, and walk away from anyone who makes you question your own mind, because the only reality that matters is yours. And nobody gets to take that from you. Not anymore. Listen, I know this is hard. I know you were thinking about all the good times, the first few months when he was perfect, when he listened to you for hours, when he made you feel like the most important person in the world, and you are. Wondering if maybe you are overreacting, if maybe things are not as bad as they seem. That voice in your head, that is him. That is what he planted there. Your reality is valid. Your memories are real. Your feelings are legitimate. You are not crazy. You are not too sensitive. You are not the problem. He is. And I need you to really hear this next part. And the best thing you can do for yourself is trust that. Write it down if you need to. Say it out loud. Tell a friend you trust. But hold on to that truth like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. You deserve someone who does not make you question your own mind. You deserve someone who validates your reality instead of denying it. You deserve someone who takes accountability instead of blaming you for everything. And that person is out there. But you will never find them while you are trapped in this cycle with someone who needs you to be small so he can feel big. So document, disengage, trust yourself, and walk away. Mean it. Walk away. You are stronger than you think. You are smarter than he has made you believe. And you absolutely have the power to reclaim your reality and your life. It starts with one decision, one moment of choosing yourself over his version of you, one moment of trusting your own memory over his denial, and then another moment, and another. Until one day, you wake up and realize you do not question yourself anymore. You do not need his approval to know what is real. That day is coming, I promise you. But it only comes if you make the choice, if you hold your truth, if you stop arguing and start believing in yourself. You have got this. And if you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, someone who is questioning themselves, someone who is walking on eggshells and does not even realize it yet. Knowledge is power. And you just gained a lot of it. Now go use it to set yourself free.